Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session, Wednesday. It's a GradChat for parents. I'm extremely lucky to have Silva Nazaretian to support us again this week and talk through some support that we can provide for our grad students that are parents or carers. But firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation that we meet on here virtually. We pay our respects to the elders past and present and recognise the strength, resilience and the capacity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait people in this land. So my name's Tivi Delasuma. I'm the GM for Program Management and Student Engagement, and I'm lucky to be hosting this session here with our guest on creating a routine for our children. And I think it's quite a special topic, especially in the times that we are right now, and with a lot of homeschooling going on. I think it's really important that we provide the extra support and guidance for our loved ones at home. So I'd like to introduce Silva Nazaretian, who is an accredited practicing dietitian and the Health Promotion Wellbeing Programs Coordinator at Southern Migrant and Refugee Centre. She has been providing personal and individual nutrition consultations to patients in clinics located across Melbourne for the past 15 years. She also coordinates the LIFE program and the Wisdom and Wellness program at SMRC, which provides various health programs and initiatives to staff at SMRC. As a mother of two active boys, she understands the challenging yet rewarding task of teaching children about healthy eating. She enjoys sharing her ideas about ways to ensure that lunch boxes are filled with healthy, yummy foods that will provide energy for those little busy bodies. Silva truly believes that setting and working on small, realistic goals is the best way of achieving long-term health and well-being. She is passionate about providing individuals of all ages with the necessary knowledge and tools to empower them to make healthy and informed decisions and achieve a healthy and nutritionally balanced lifestyle. When not working, Silva loves spending time with her husband and her two sons and a Hungarian Visla. And I'll ask Silva to sort of contribute about what that actually is. But Silva, welcome to the show, and thanks again for joining us again. And over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'd just like to say thank you to GSA for having me back on the GradChat. I really enjoyed presenting last time, and I do appreciate you welcoming me back, and thank you for that introduction. And yes, Hungarian Visla, I can talk about that a little bit later. So what I'm just going to do now is just share my slides, so then I can bring up my slides and talk to them. Okay, now, so welcome everybody. I think we are probably week 7 of lockdown now. So we've been in this game for a little while. And what I hope to do today is talk a little bit about how to set routines for little ones, what our experiences are, and of course, answer any questions that you might have around routines. I am a mum of two busy boys and have been working on and off from home, running a business for quite a while now with the little ones around. So hopefully I can be a good source of information and we can have a really good discussion today. Okay, so little routines. And why routines? And that's one of the things that, we ask ourselves initially. So why is routines important for children as well as us? So I think it's very important for everybody to have a good structure. But in terms of children, routines provide structure and predictability during times of uncertainty. So when there's a lot going around us that we can't control, especially for the little ones, them having a good structure can really, really help them along. It provides know what to expect, and they know that they are safe within that routine, and again, they know what's coming. Promotes positive physical and mental health. So again, sometimes when we're really busy at home, we're studying and we've got lots of deadlines coming up as well as family commitments, sometimes we can forget to self-care and we can forget a little bit about our physical and our mental health. So setting a routine enables those things to be incorporated within our life and to sort of for us to continue to have that highlight of physical and mental health. Children turn to structure and routine for reassurance. It helps maintain balance and normality. And the more a child can anticipate what's up ahead, the better they're prepared to face daily challenges and expectations. So they know that during the week, this is what happens, and then on the weekends, other things can happen and there is a change in routine. So it really helps to establish that week for them. Okay. Please, as I'm going through, please feel free to ask questions. I don't really want this to be a lecture style, so please, I'm happy to hold for questions. Now, what I've learned through setting routines is to really start small, to be quite flexible with the routine at the start, just to get a bit of a feel as to what works and what doesn't. And that constant feedback from our children, as well as how we feel about it, can help us to build on that routine slowly. Okay. Setting routines for the morning, then adding in some free time in the afternoon. Again, doing it in small steps. And like anything in our life, if you think about anything that you've changed in your life, whether it be health or nutrition or study, we start small. We set a small routine and then we add on to it. It makes things more achievable and more realistic as well. Gradually increasing to a full day routine and being kind to yourself. I know we talked a little bit about this last time, but really being kind to ourselves. Sometimes our self-talk can be a little bit negative, and we would never talk to our best friend or our friends, our family, the way that we talk to ourselves sometimes. So being kind and saying, well, okay, if something didn't work today, let's work on it tomorrow. Okay, so setting those small steps.
Yes, so sorry, Silva. Can I just jump in there for a sec? So we've got a question from our audience here. The question is, it's harder to have a routine on weekends now, as there are no school works on weekdays. How can we create routine on the weekend? And I think that's a great question, because it's this time that we're in. I mean, yes, we're trying to set up these routines from the Monday to Friday, but then if you're struggling with the Monday to Friday routine, how are you going to put together a weekend routine?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the weekend, I guess our study, our work might not stop, but then they don't have schoolwork. Is that right? Is that what we're...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So again, maybe setting a routine on the weekend that is similar to our weekday, maybe setting up an academic time for them as well, maybe calling it some, doing some worksheets. And there are a couple of resources that I will allude to. So the Crayola website is fantastic. It's got lots and lots of different resources on there. So maybe printing a few of those off and then saying, right, we are still going to sort of continue having a little bit of school time or school work time, or you could call it quiet time, where they're quite occupied as they would be during school.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know it is a little bit hard on weekends when they stop, but we don't. Yeah. All right. Making it visual. So especially for the little ones, making a visual schedule where they can sort of take part in there in that as well. And of course, when you're setting this schedule, it's got to be around your schedule as well. So if you know that you've got that meeting, or if you just need a couple of hours of no distraction at all, and I know again it's very hard with little ones, but tag teaming with a partner, and now that we are able to have some people over to our house, maybe having somebody as a carer come over and just say, look, a couple of hours, I just need to be alone and I need some quiet time. So utilising others in this instance when we're out of lockdown, well, first stage of out of lockdown, scheduling some quiet time. So these are just a couple of examples here. waking up, eating breakfast, getting dressed, playtime, lunchtime. So incorporating all that into it. And you can call it different things as well. So as this next slide is, it's, wake up checklist. So don't forget, we've got to still brush our teeth. It doesn't matter that we're in lockdown, we've still got to brush our teeth. And the number of times that I've told my children, the dentist out, that you're still looking after your teeth. So yeah, chore time, you could set them a couple of chores to keep their little hands busy as well. Creative time, so that might be a little bit of time, as I said, with the Crayola worksheets or the colouring in. School time, so and quiet time, free TV time, afternoon fresh air, morning walk time, nap time. So you can call it whatever you like, but doing it, yeah. Sorry, I think, was there a
Yes.
question?
Yeah, sorry, Silva, I might just jump in quickly. We're just having some connect issues from hearing you. So,
Okay.
so if you'd like, I'll let Andrew take over some slides.
Yes, absolutely.
And that way we can make sure we can hear you.
Yeah, sure.
Great. So I think we've got the slides are back up. And that way
great.
it allows us to hear you clearly. But I think I just wanted to also say that I guess even with this the gradual, the restrictions slowly lifting, and I think the routine is so important. I mean, I've spoken to some other parents, and they're talking about, well, we can have 5 people come around as of today, and I think that creates another element of complexity, I guess, because I'm sure that our little ones want friends to visit, or cousins, or
yes.
and I guess even with us as adults would like to to have visitors, and I guess that too, throwing that in the mix into the routine is definitely going to be something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. So maybe that's something that can be kept to the weekends in an evening where you know that you've made those commitments and that you've met your study and work goals as well, and having a time frame and having a routine for that as well. That's social time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Okay, so sleep routines, and I know in my household these have changed a little bit, where the kids are going to bed a little bit later, but so just understanding that the times may be a little bit different, and there's nothing wrong with that. So of course, with the little ones, we want to keep them as regular as possible. However, sometimes as they're getting into that sort of early primary school and they're at home, things might change a little bit. Okay, so that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but trying to stick to even the new routine. So same sleeping time, same waking time, to be able to support not only their mental well-being but also their growth, and to make sure that they're alert and engaged during the day as well with whatever tasks that they're doing. So trying to stick to a routine there. Having said that, sleep is also very important for us as well. So anything less than 6 hours of sleep, anything more than 10 hours of sleep is actually quite detrimental to us. So making sure that we are also trying to have very good sleep routines ourselves. Yeah, and getting that good quality sleep. Thanks, Andrew. Encourage regular grooming and hygiene. So again, putting this into our routine. So what do we do when we wake up? Usually when we go to daycare or childcare or school, we get up, we brush our teeth, we brush our hair, we get changed out of our pajamas. I know it's very tempting to stay in pajamas all day for the kids and sometimes for us as well. So it is very tempting, but I would encourage everybody to get dressed for the day, get the kids to make their beds, no matter how young. They can even just put the pillows straight, or they can still partake in that sort of in the morning exercise where they're looking after themselves as well as the environment in which they are sleeping and living in. So giving them a little chore.
Yeah, hi Silva. We've got another question from the attendees here. It's basically, do you have any suggestions to create a routine for babies? My baby's sleep time is very much random and not consistent.
Yes, for the babies. And has that routine changed since you've been at home? I'll just wait for that.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will find that no matter how old the children are, that things are going to change because we're around a little bit more. So that's just that natural response to them. However, having said that, again, trying to there's quite a few good little sleep books around as well. So trying to follow that set routine of what you would normally do with the baby. So if they are at, say, even childcare when you're studying, then what is that routine that's established there, and trying to keep to that very same routine. It could just be a response to you being around more as well, and that's something that we probably can't do a lot about because that's their feelings and that's their natural response to their carers, to them being with their primary carers a little bit more. But using some sleep techniques around that. So putting them to bed at the same time. And I know, again, everybody's a little bit different in the sleep training, but maybe looking up some sleep training avenues as well. I can send some links if you like, which will be quite useful. So, sleeping babies is a whole different, ball game. And yeah, so I'm more than happy to send some resources along that might help.
Great. Thanks, Silva.
Yeah. What I found quite handy when my kids were babies and I was trying to work, I just used to put my top in there, something that smelled like me in their beds with them. So that's one of the ways that really worked for me. Yeah, because I just want your sense. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Silva.
Thank you. School-age children. So if you do have school-age children around this, and we talked a little bit about it last time, so a quiet space for them to learn, whether, it is a different room or just even their space near you. So it could still be a quiet space, but it could be near you where they can see you. Having done this for now 7 weeks, we started off with my little son, asking 1,000 questions a day. So he'd come to me, 1,000 questions. What about this? What about? So we actually sat down and we had to talk a little bit about that to say, look, would you ask your teacher 100 questions in an hour? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't always go to your teacher to ask questions. So you need to sort of see, you need to try the task, and then you need to come to me if you're still having trouble with it, because it was almost impossible to try and work continuously while I was getting lots and lots of questions. So setting those boundaries with kindness still in the background there, of course, but just setting the expectations from their point of view and from your point of view as well. Okay. Encouraging them to submit the work after each day, so not leaving it for the next day. Harder tasks in the morning usually work quite well. Breaks at recess and lunch, so keeping that routine for school-age children, and setting an activity to look forward to. So again, in this household, it's Legos. So we went and bought Legos, and my son knows once he's submitted everything and then he can play Legos. Then he can have however long he wants with his Legos. So setting something to look forward to. Okay. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a tricky time over the next couple of weeks because we are slowly going to transition back to school. So we've had some announcements yesterday as to when school's going to go back. And so this might be a little bit of a transition for your child as well. I would suggest talking to your children's teacher and talking to them, or just sending them an email to let them know what worked well at home and what didn't work so well at home. So that could be, my child really enjoyed the activities, but the English part of it was really, he was really, really disengaged in it. didn't really enjoy doing it. We found that he was a little bit more stressed doing English, for example. That's just an example. So talking to your teacher, what went well, what didn't go so well. Encourage the children to express their emotions when they go back to school, and a really sort of good exercise, and again, if you've got some quiet time with your child, is to write a set of statements, and get them to put a smiley face or a sad face next to it. So it could be, I want to go back. I'm looking forward to seeing my friends. I'm looking forward to, so making them quite positive statements and seeing what their response is to those statements. And then the last thing here is transitioning back to school means that we need to reassess the screen time. While, we're at home, maybe screen time was a little bit more flexible for our children, only because, at the end of the day, we're only human and we're parents and we need to get things done. So sometimes using that screen time to give them some quiet time and for you to have some time for you as well as your work, may have increased. So reassessing that and having a chat to your children that screen time might not be as much when they go back to school.
Yeah, sorry, Sil, I just had a question actually about, there's so much, we talk about creating the routines, and yes, this 7 weeks of COVID restrictions, has made us sort of adapt and try and be as thoughtful and understanding in any stage of our lives, with our families or our colleagues or others. And I guess, another biggest challenge you've mentioned is going to be transitioning back to, I guess, normalcy in some sense. We know that, is it the 26th of May in Victoria is it prep to 2, is it? Or
prep to grade 2 as well as the year 11s and 12s. They're going back.
So just now, I guess now there's it's not full back into the routine that all the kids knew straight away. It's almost like a version of normalcy that's going to have to come into play. And I guess juggling that. What are your thoughts? Are your kids part of that first intake?
No, so my youngest one will go back on the 9th of June, and we're still waiting for my year 8 their school to announce when they're going to go back. So he might actually not go back until term 3. So yes, it is going to be quite a big transition, just as it was when we went into lockdown. And with this, we need to probably be a little bit more mindful about what the children have heard so far about the virus and about the illness. And some might actually have some trepidations in going back to school. So even in those statements, maybe slowly introducing how they might feel about the illness and what we need to do to be safe, to still be safe when we're going back to school. So things like your sanitizers, and I always say, look, I know there's a lot of bad things happening out there, but we also have a lot of good people looking after us. So in school, we can say there's lots of people looking after our safety, making sure that everything is clean and so that we don't become ill, but also their responsibility. So washing their hands, not touching their face, all of those things. So I think that could be a bit of a transition as well, because their environment, suddenly they've gone from a safe school home environment to now going out there as well. So talking to them a little bit about that, maybe setting some boundaries around friends, visiting and us visiting friends. So that might not happen as much as it used to before. So that's something else that we could talk to them about. And also things like behaviour and while at school, and that routine when we go back to school.
Yeah, I think you've just nailed a little bit there. We had a comment from one of the attendees is basically saying that they're not ready to face society because they become so used to the lockdown. And their worry is how kids are going to react, how the kids going to react if they're not ready. Surely how kids can be prepared for this? And it's going to be a thing, isn't it?
Absolutely, I absolutely agree, and I have a very a personal experience, because my oldest son is actually he doesn't want to go back to school. He's year 8, and only because he's scared that he's going to get ill. And so again, just And I think always with any child of any age, our responsibility is just to hold that safe space for them while they release those emotions. So it's not for us to give them answers or to, tell them what they feel and what they should do. It's just to hold that safe space. And that safe space might be just a chat, and it might be in the middle of our work sometimes, but, that 10 minutes can give us such a big advantage, spending 10 minutes letting them release those emotions. And I think that's why that statement activity can be really, really helpful. Yeah, and doing it one step at a time.
Yeah, thanks, Silva.
Yeah. Great. So this next slide here, again, with routines, and this could be incorporated into those weekends where we are busy with our study or work. So hobbies and new activities. So through this lockdown, I'm sure many of us have found new things that interest us. So I've taken up stitching. So that's something that I haven't done for years and years. So I thought, let's do that. Legos, and this is what the floor of my living room looks like at the moment, with the Legos everywhere, and that's completely fine. So new hobbies, new activities, and incorporating that not only now into our routines, but to our weekends and going forward as well. Keeping those routines up. Don't forget outdoor activity. Now, it doesn't have to be as this family is doing. It doesn't have to be hiking, but it can be if you like. So just getting some sun. And I listened to a very interesting podcast last night on vitamin D and our requirements. And we know that vitamin D predominantly we get from sunshine. And in winter, we need half an hour of sunshine every day. Now, that's really, really hard to get sometimes because it's cold and we don't really want to be exposing skin when we're out. But getting some sun whenever you can, getting outdoors, getting some fresh air, and maybe incorporating that into your routine as well. It could be early in the morning. It could be at a recess. It could be to actually break up the time between your study and your family time. So if you've said, I'm going to study until 5 p.m., whatever it might be, so that 5 p.m. going out just for 10 minutes and just getting some fresh air. So incorporating that in there as well.
Sorry, Silva, we've got another comment from the audience here. Do you have any suggestions for podcasts for children to listen to?
Yes, and I will put those up as well. So there's some great podcasts. I put her little clip up, Leal Stone. I'll do that again. Laelstone, and she is fantastic. She has lots and lots of great resources. On Wednesday evening, she goes on Facebook Live and talks about resilience and parenting. So she's fantastic. For kids, there's the Smiling Mind app, which is great. So that's some meditation and just relaxation app as well. But I will definitely send a couple of extra ones along as well after this session.
Great. Thank you.
That's okay. Connect socially. So we talked a little bit about socially, and I know again, we can have 5 people over to our house, and we can go to other people's houses now. But again, just do this slowly at your own time. There's no rush for it. And I know our family is not sort of rushing to all get together because, we just don't quite feel comfortable doing that right now. So setting those boundaries with the kids as well. So I've chatted to the kids that, while we can go meet a friend at the park, we're not really doing the catch up at home thing right at the moment. So continuing to use things like social apps to connect. So house party, again, this is all going to be age appropriate and with supervision, of course, but even the little ones love seeing their friends on the screen and love connecting with them that way as well. Or just using the telephone, the good old fashioned telephone. There was nothing wrong with that when we were growing up, so they can use that to communicate as well. Writing a letter, making a card, especially, if their friends have got birthdays, doing a little card and just dropping it off, that might just continue that social connection so that when they do go back to school, it's not a whole different world for them, and they can hopefully start back up where they pick up where they kept off. So dropped off, especially for the little ones. I'm thinking about those that have just started prep. this year. So they've really only had probably a term of being together, and then they've had these 7 to 9 weeks away. So yeah, trying to get that connection socially back up again now. Playing the game together over the phone or whatever it might be. So that's another way of doing it. Yeah, so that social connectedness is quite important. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll keep going. Thanks, Andrew. Okay. Just next slide, please, Andrew. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, these are the things to watch out for. So remember, right at the very start, we talked about setting the routines very, very gradually and being flexible. And the reason for that is because we need that feedback from our children as well. So whether this is routine now or routine when they go back to school, these are the sort of the red flags that we're looking for. So things like irritability, any changes in mood. So this could be whether their mood changes to, a very, very positive or something that is sort of out of sorts for them, or negative, of course. So any sort of change in mood we're watching out for. Increased anxiety, and this could be if they're not able to sleep as well. That can be a sign of anxiety. My son the other day, he was going to sleep and he came out and he said, "Mum, I've got too many thoughts going through my head. I'm thinking about my friends. I'm also thinking about what Daniel wants for his birthday. I'm also thinking about what to do for Lego." So again, there were lots and lots of thoughts, and the little kids, and we know we have 60,000 thoughts a day. So that's us. So little kids with all this going on have got lots of thoughts, and that sometimes can induce some anxiety. So watching out for that. Clinginess, and I think that is definitely something very natural. But again, setting those boundaries and working through that. Tearfulness, so we've had our fair share of tears here, but it's all about that communication. So if they're tearful around their schoolwork, for example, then communicating that to their teacher and encouraging them to talk to their teacher about it. Again, there's lots of good people there that are there for us and that can support us through anything. So communicating that to our children. Increased stress levels and acting out for attention as well. And, it's such a dangerous thing. My sister, she has an 8-year-old, and she said he was on the roof and that was just attention, very, very dangerous. Don't know how he got up there. She's a teacher, so she was teaching, and acting out for attention. Now, I wouldn't be a dietitian if I didn't put a couple of recipes in here. So again, this could be incorporated into routine. Some cooking time, some food preparation time together. This is Wheat Bix balls. So, most kids love Wheat Bix. It's so good. The kids' Wheat Bix is actually fortified with iron and lots of different minerals like calcium as well. So that's the one that I would be recommending. And it's got some untoasted muesli in there, some raisins. Again, most kids love raisins and dried fruit, coconut. So you really just mix it together, and you can get them to roll them into balls, and that will keep their little hands busy for a little while. So they can roll it into balls, and they can have it as a snack. Okay. Of course, having said that, this does have dried fruit in there. So if they're at home, getting them to brush their teeth or rinse their mouth out after they've had this snack. Okay, great. And I do have another recipe here as well. And again, this is something that they can help do as well. They can roll it up, which they love doing. It's great for little hands. It's very healthy. And you can really put whatever you like in it. It's a fantastic way of introducing new foods as well. So we say with the little kids, whenever we're introducing new foods, introduce it with something that they already like. So, if they already love carrots and capsicum, then add some cabbage in there as well to get their taste buds used to it. Okay, so there's a couple of recipes. I can send this in another file as well, so it's a little bit easier to download. Great, thank you. Thanks, Andrew. And thank you all so much. Thank you for listening, and thank you for asking questions. It's really my experience, and I would love to have more discussion and chat around it if you have any questions. So thank you once again for inviting me back.
Yeah, thanks, Silva. Thanks very much for taking the time and presenting such a comprehensive sort of discussion around creating routine for our little ones at home. And I knew you'd throw in some recipes at the end, which is what I was hoping for.
Yeah,
So thank
yeah,
you. I think some of those are very pertinent to me. I think the rice paper roll one I might have a look at
yeah.
myself in doing. So no, I
Great.
really appreciate it. And I guess this is the opportunity for anyone in the audience there who would like to ask some questions in general about creating routine or healthy living. Silva's our expert in the room, so it's a good time to take advantage of her while she's here. If not, we are going to, this is a recording, so we release the recording later. We will attach a lot of the resources that Silva has been talking about, so it makes it easier for you to link back to those resources. But yeah, I guess in general, Silva, I mean, we talked about it briefly, but I guess that I'm still really curious to see how. I mean, this is more of an opinion or discussion about
Mm,
the routines. I mean, even I've got some apprehension about returning back to the office. And not that it's coming up soon, but I guess it's even getting
mm,
into the mindset of the new routine. Um,
yeah.
I mean, I talked to someone yesterday, and we talked about they were catching the tram in and to work. I was like, wow, what does that feel like? And I guess even for me, that unknown, and I guess especially for little ones and our student parents at home, is just trying to manage those emotions and thoughts that you talked about before. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, it will be tough, and there's nothing wrong with it being tough, and for us to have some downtime and to really think about that. I think, as we talked about last time, it's okay to have stress. It's just what we do with that stress and who we reach out for and when we reach out for it. So if we are having trouble, then reaching out and having a chat with somebody around that. Yeah, and just being in tune with our children. I think that's quite important.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and we've got another question from the audience here. Is do you have any suggestions for hygiene practice while going to the grocery store, like disinfecting fruits and veg before taking it home? Do we actually
Mm.
have to do that much precautions at this stage? Do you think?
Yeah, so the Dietitians Association, they did a media release around this, and they said that fruit and vegetables don't need to be washed with, soap, or some people are washed, spraying metho on them. So there's absolutely no need to do that. However, we do need to make sure that we're washing them really, really well. Not only for the virus, but for whatever's been sprayed on them as well. So just have a cloth, I would say, a microfiber cloth, and once you bring in your vegetables and fruit, put them in a big bowl and just give them a good wash. Just with a bit of warm water. That's all that's really needed. If you wanted to put a tiny bit of vinegar in there as well, you could do that. Particularly, I guess, with things like grapes, you're not going to wash every single grape, but maybe add it in a bit of water with maybe a tablespoon of vinegar in there and just give it a good wash. Yeah.
Oh, great
So,
tips there, Silva.
yeah. Thank you.
I guess you mentioned it before about the hobbies and getting out and about, and I think yeah, even for, I guess, people working from home, trying to juggle I mean, it's just as good for the parent or carer to be out and about. Because you also mentioned about being kind to yourself and looking after yourself. And I think that's come home more so in these times, is that we need to, I mean, we literally, we can't help others unless we help ourselves. And so if we can sort of make time for ourselves, and I mean, it's such a blanket comment, especially if you've got little ones in the background. But if you can, just to try and find your own time and space, no?
Oh, absolutely. That's right. And it could just be something very simple. It doesn't have to be a long thing. I know that there's a lot of noise out there about, doing this exercise and doing this and doing that, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's just whatever relaxes you. It could just be listening to music for 5 minutes. That's all it could be. So whatever works for you. And I know how difficult, I mean, pre all of this, I know I used to work 6 days a week, and I'm studying as well. I'm doing a grad diploma. So and with the kids and their sporting commitments. So life was crazy. And I guess it's learning to step back, being kind, taking stock of of what's going on around you and then moving forward. And that could be a new routine, it could be a new hobby or a new way of doing things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's good to have you on board too because of your dietitian and health connection. I guess part of that looking after yourself is literally food.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's right. If we eat well, and we know that there's such a big connection between what we eat, the food, and also our mood, our mental health. So something, for example, folate. Has been a deficiency in folate has been linked with depressive episodes. So having a look at what we're putting into our body, how much of it we're putting into our body, can really give us a very good insight into what's happening with our health. So if we are feeling mentally, physically not 100%, then having a look at what we're eating and what we're putting into our bodies. And again, something I learned yesterday was that link between the vitamin D and also our immune system. And something as simple as, grabbing the mushrooms and getting them to sunbake outside can actually increase the vitamin D content. So little
Wow.
things like that we can do. Yeah. So when you buy your mushrooms, get them outside as well. They need a bit of the sun.
Okay, that's changed my routine already. Thanks for that, Silva.
Yeah, that's all right.
We've got another question here from, I mean, it's more of a comment maybe to
Yeah.
have a discussion around is,
Sure.
as someone said, there's a lot of overwhelming resources online, and it's really difficult to choose which one to adopt for their family. And we actually spoke about this before the webinar, didn't we? About the overwhelming amount of resource online, and I think it's a reaction from our community to make sure that people have enough information. But yeah, there's definitely a lot out there. What do you suggest in this instance?
Yeah, and there is a lot of information. It's really finding one that resonates with you and sticking with that one. So as you're looking through, you might find something that's fantastic and only go to that. I think sometimes going through Facebook and not clicking on a lot of things, so stopping yourself from clicking to so many different, because it's information overload at the end of the day. And let's be frank, at the end of the day, they're all saying pretty much the same things. We're just reading it over and over again. So finding a couple of good reputable ones that resonate with you and you're comfortable with, and then going from there. What I've found is also the school has sent some really good resources. So maybe looking to your school, if you're looking at education resources, for example, looking at your school website or what they're bringing out, or even just asking the teacher as well. So that might be a good place to start. There is something, again, I'll send a link, and I'm sorry, I'm going to send some links to you as well. But the Achievement Program, which is run by the Cancer Council, is fantastic. They've got lots and lots of different things on there, as well as the Better Health channel. So again, I'll send all this across, yeah, and see which one works for you.
Yeah, great. So look, I might take this opportunity just to plug a few of the other things that GSA are doing in the background to support our students. So as everyone knows, Wednesdays mornings at 10 are dedicated to support discussions for our grad students that are parents or carers. And so Silva was here for us today, and that we'll definitely have more guests every Wednesday going forward at 10 a.m. Today also we send out the Kids Challenge. So if you're not familiar with that, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, every Wednesday we're releasing out an activity for families to do with their children over the weekend, and they send it back to us with their results on the Monday, and we sort of showcase the winner. So we had a couple of great drawings posted it was a Monday from some of the kids that took part. So that's really great. So we're just offering some sort of activity for those weekends. So one of the guests on the line, we're talking about, setting some routine on the weekend. So this is part of that. And obviously with Silva saying we're going to Corolla website, and we'll have the link out there for you guys to look at. And then also today, if you're into it, we have a drop-in dance session. So at 2 p.m. we'd sort of, it's almost part of the midweek workout, is just to be able to for 30 minutes just do a bit of jumping around and moving about. And I've been told and confirmed that no skills are required, so I'm relieved for myself. So that's at 2 p.m. today, and it's all through our Facebook page. And then later tonight we have from 4 o'clock we're actually have a Netflix watch party. So if you're not familiar with what that is, it's we will send out a link to a movie, and it's Crazy Rich Asians this afternoon, and you can watch it with us. So you do need a Netflix account. It just means that we're all watching it together, and we can comment and pause and all that sort of stuff together while we watch. And then that's in aid of having a discussion on Thursday, the next day, tomorrow, to have a discussion around the movie. So there's a conversation club, and all these links are in our Facebook group. We also have another group called Connection in Isolation at GSA, and that's a group dedicated for students at University of Melbourne to come in and talk about how they're dealing with stuff, solutions, strategies, fun stuff, things to sort of maybe help support our student group through this COVID-19 situation. So Facebook is one of the key areas we're sending our students, because that's where a lot of our students are going anyway. So we thought we might as well bundle in the same place to save jumping around online. And tomorrow we have a special webinar at 10 a.m. and it's the GradChat is based around finances and the anxiety about debt. And so we have special guests from UMSU counseling, financial counseling services. Vanessa's coming on board to talk about ways of coping and strategies about coping with debt, or solution to some, potentially stressful situations with debt. So she's going to be on the call. We also have Sarah and Tay from our counseling and psychological services at University of Melbourne. She's jumping on the call too to talk about how CAPS, so counseling and psychological services, is supporting students through COVID-19, some of their support mechanisms, but also just talking in general about some strategy of coping with the stress and anxiety around the debt issues that some students can face. And I guess debt comes into play more so now because of everyone's working environments have changed in some respect. So that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. So looking forward to that conversation. And as I mentioned earlier, Conversation Club, talking about Crazy Rich Asians, the movie, is having a 2 p.m. Tomorrow, just to have a chat and discussion and a bit of fun to talk about that movie. And then Friday at the moment, we have a series called Feel Good Friday series, and this is where we have a live stream through our Facebook of a local act. So this Friday is a trio, and it's funny, before lockdown, before the restrictions were slightly lifted last night, we ensured that this trio lived together, so they do, and they'll be performing live 3 p.m. On Friday through our Facebook. So a few different things happening this week, but in general, Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m., we do run webinar series. So check out what is the next topic on our Facebook page. And next Wednesday, actually, I might talk about briefly, we have a special guest coming in from University of Melbourne cybersecurity area, and they're going to come and talk to us about ensuring or best practice for ensuring cyber safety at home, especially if you're studying from home or have the little ones in the back there, just to give you some tips and some good practices being online. So that's next week at 10 a.m. For the parents chat, but it's actually open to all students, very pertinent to how we're all working from home at the moment. So yeah, so that's a brief overview of this week. And also, like any other time, we have a 1-800 number. So 1-800-GSA-HELP is there for any student to call in. It's a free number, and we can help direct your call or give you some advice about dealing with certain things that are related to being a grad student at the University of Melbourne. So there's that number, and we also have our email. It's info@gsa.unimel.edu.au. So I think some of the key messages for us is that we're inviting special guests and experts like Silva to come in and talk to our students, or talk about certain situations that students have made clear that they're thinking about and worried about. And so please use our channels to let us know if there's anything else you want to talk about. And also the feedback. We definitely work off feedback. So all our sessions, our interactions, our student engagements, based on what students are telling us, as we need to know what works for them. So yeah, so extremely looking to engage with our students no matter what. And yes, we've had to move from face-to-face but online. But at the moment, we're looking that we're actually reaching more students. So that makes us us happy, because it means that our message and our support is getting out to the wider student community. So if there's any other questions from the attendees, please put it forward now. I'll just check and see if we have anything on our questions and answers. I think we're all good there, and we've had Andrew in the background just sending some links through the chat. So if you had an opportunity, there's some links that came through in the chat today, but we will also be putting all these resources attached to the recording. So hopefully that recording's out today or tomorrow, and it usually goes in our blog. So that if you go to our website, you can go to resources or blog, and these will be all there. So look, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Silva. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure, and it's amazing the wealth of information that you bring to our community, but not even just me, just understanding what's going on. So yeah, thank you, Silva.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you to Rita, and thank you to those that attended today as well.
No problem. And look, and we possibly see you again, and as the time progresses, we'll see what other topics come back from our students. So on behalf of GSA and our staff and our council members, we'd like to thank everyone for being on the call, and thank everyone who will be listening to this recording also. So have a great Wednesday, people, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.